All right. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Welcome to the party. Today is April 29th, 2025, coming to you live from the mobile studio in glorious, very busy, very suffocating San Francisco, California, here on the left coast, getting up early with you folks who typically get up at the 5 a.m. hour for the show. Oh, what? Okay. I don't know why music just kept happening. That's a classic, classic remote studio action, guys. This is episode 866 of your daily cyber threat brief podcast. I am your host, Dr. Gerald Auger. Anthony S. celebrating that blue badge. Morning, Team SC. Good to see you, guys. Good morning, AA Witherspoon, guys. We are going to be shredding the top cybersecurity news stories of the day, and I'll be giving my expert opinion and analysis on each of those stories on what it means to you as a practitioner. So, how can you use this information to drive cyber risk reduction for your business stakeholders, alongside friends like Tasha, Dwight, Elliot Matisse, Phil Stafford, the crew that we hooked up with yesterday at RSA, alongside folks like Eric Taylor in the green room, Jenny Housley, Justin Golden, Mod Chat. We got all the regulars in here. Devin Grady, Mara Levy, and Natalie Garrett, Triple D, as always, KP, DP down the hall, Dennis Keefe. Guys, we are going to be shredding it. I am so excited. I want you to know for all the stories that we covered today, I have not researched or prepped for any of them. Eric Taylor can attest to this. He's been watching me scramble around in the back office here trying to get ready for the show, and at the last minute, getting a hot cup of coffee to go. Shout out to Bill Boston, as always. Sending good vibes his way for all that he's, got going on, guys. Ooh, if you didn't know, this show, in addition to going and giving all sorts of thoughts and opinions, the community, you can see everybody in here, all the regulars, Marcus Kyler, Stones fan out of the Arizona office, folks over on LinkedIn, like Jules, guys, so many people with experience, expertise, guidance. It's not just me up here delivering hot takes and thoughts. The community itself is too. I encourage you, with professionalism and decorum, just, share your thoughts and get some mad value. Um, KP, what RSA? So RSA is the RSA tentpole cybersecurity conference. It's one of the big ones. It's kind of like the first big one of the year to kick things off. I don't know how many thousands of people are here, but it's downtown San Francisco. And if you Google RSAC 2025, you'll get it. I'm actually posted some content last night. I got some more content coming out today around what I'm doing here. It's a good time. But guys, listen, the whole goal of this show is not only to brief you on the top cyber threats, but it's to give you beneath the surface insights, actionable intel, things that you can use to drive cyber risk reduction for your business stakeholders. And if you're looking to break into the industry, which I know many of you are, mid-career pivots, I was just talking to my friend Meg yesterday, and she was saying that her brother, I believe, or brother-in-law is looking to get in to the industry. Sent him over to the academy for some of those free resources we have over there to help people. This show right here is a banger answer to the inevitable question you will get in any job interview in our industry. How do you stay current? This is, not only as being here part of that answer, but engaging, paying attention, and saying what's up to everybody, and just squeezing the value like it's a sham wow and giving it all the squeeze. Really quick, if Roswell UK is here or if Roswell UK shows up, I would ask that the community let me know. Roswell UK needs to connect with me so I can get him his prize for being the Simply Cyber Community Member of the Week. I want to remind everybody it's Tuesday, which means Tidbits Tuesday, and I've got a bit of a personal juicy one. It came to me while I was in the shower 20 minutes ago. Not to. This is a family appropriate program, but just listen. It's probably gonna have a lot of people laughing. It's definitely gonna admit a lot of vulnerabilities. I think you're going to get a kick out of it. So stay tuned for the Tidbits Tuesday. If you're a runner, you might vibe with me on that one. Now, before we get into it, I do want to say shout out and thank you to the stream sponsors, those companies that I partner with on behalf of Simply Cyber that I am super, super happy that they support us, as well as allowing me to bring this show to you, whether I'm on the road or I'm in the main studio. So let's give a quick shout to them real quick, and I'll engage with everybody in chat during the ads, and when we get back, I'm going to tell you how this show can straight up slam your CPE requirements. Let's go. I want to give some love to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief sponsor, ThreatLocker. Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Worry no more. You can harden your security with ThreatLocker. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust ThreatLocker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. ThreatLocker takes a deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based Cyber Heroes support team. Get a free 30-day trial and learn more about how ThreatLocker can help prevent ransomware and ensure compliance. Visit threatlocker.com. Do you want cutting-edge, high-quality cybersecurity education regardless of financial position? Check this out. I want to give some love and some praise to AntiCipher Training, powered by Black Hills Information Security. AntiCipher Training is absolutely disrupting the traditional cybersecurity training industry by providing high-quality, cutting-edge education to everyone regardless of financial position. They bring industry professionals with years and years of experience into the classroom to teach you and anyone else who's interested practical skills that are in demand in the market today. And on top of that, the student experience is amazing as you and hundreds or thousands in some instances of other students are actively engaging, networking, sharing tips, tricks, and experiences with each other all live in the classroom. Go to AntiSiphonTraining.com, check out their course calendar to see what courses they have coming up next. You won't regret it. Heck yeah, thank you to ThreatLocker and AntiCipher Training. Just so everybody knows, AntiCipher Training, there's actually a training on July 18th with Hayden Covington around detection engineering that I will be taking. So if anybody's down, it is a pay what you can course. So you can get in for as little as $0. You know, like the price is right. So it's more about making time and being there. So I'm excited. I personally want to pick up some detection engineering skills. So that's why I signed up. But I'm also going to do a whole like video review on the course, as I typically do when I take anti-siphon courses, just for benefit for the community so you guys can get more insight into what the show is all about. I also want to say shout out really quickly. You guys know him. He's in the green room. He's a beautiful man. He's also the chief forensics officer and creator of Fortify 365. Now, guys, listen, Barricade Cyber Solutions has developed the Fortify 365 solution basically to help organizations that are running M365, which many of you are, let's be honest, basically set it up for success, putting all those, and Eric will not ever throw love to GRC, but let me just tell you, when you look at the NIST cybersecurity framework and you look to the left of boom, there's two things there: identify and protect, and govern, which is everywhere, but identify and protect. Fortify 365 lives. It built a permanent residence inside the protect function, which is straight up GRC. Love it, love it, love it. We'll bring Eric over to the light side at some point. He can keep on cramping over in the dark side. But listen, your M365 instance, there's tons of configurations, there's tons of settings that you probably haven't taken advantage of and you're definitely paying for that can help you reduce the likelihood of compromise and manage the impact when you do get compromised. Connect with Eric Taylor at Fortify365.com. Have a consult. Get in there, see what it is. He's done it for organizations where I was responsible for information security, where we ran M365. Super smooth. We gave him access to the environment. He went in with his wrenches and his tinkering, and he came out on the other side, and the thing looked hard and pretty slick. So definitely connect with him at Fortify365.com. Links in the description below for more insights on all that. Guys, every single episode, including this one of Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast, is worth half a CPE. So don't be shy. Say what's up in chat. Grab a screenshot if you can. You see the Chiron, how it says episode 866, half a CPE. Include that in the screenshot. Maybe the actual, it'll say Cyber News Today or whatever, April 29th. Like all of that is deliberately placed there. So when you grab the screenshot, it's just all there, all the little details that the certification body companies require you to include in your evidence, if they call it. Fleet is posted in the third with 10 gifted subs. Thank you, Fleet is posted in the third. And if you're one of the 10 people who just picked up those subs, first of all, holla. Second of all, get into that squad emote chat and take advantage of that. Omatola Agbana, good to see you. It's been a minute. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, guys, it's 11 minutes past the hour. We are ready to cook. Remember, we've got Jawjacking right after this. Eric Taylor will be taking the helm. I'll spend a minute just kind of giving you a little situational rep if you are at RSA. I'm trying to have a meetup this afternoon or this evening, whatever. I got to go to the airport at like 9:30, but my plan is to be my plan's to be at a bar until 9:15. So if you want to connect, there's a Irish pub called the Chieftain. The Chieftain, I don't know if it's been rented out by friggin', some Fortune 50 cyber company or not, but that's the current plan, FYI. Try to get over there around 5:30 and, hang out. We'll take a team photo with the flag right here if you're around. More details to follow, but do me a favor, everybody. Sit back, relax, and let's let the DJ B-Sec Spice wash over you in an awesome wave.
Spicy!
I'll see you guys at the Midroll. Let's cook.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. I'm Rich Straffolino. Uyghur language software hijacked to deliver malware. In March 2025, senior members of the World Uyghur Congress living in exile received government-backed attack alerts from Google Drive. Members forwarded these to Citizen Lab, which identified a spear phishing campaign targeting the group. The campaign attempted to deliver a Trojanized version of an otherwise legitimate open-source Uyghur language text editor. The malicious app included a backdoor to gather device information, communicate with the C2 server, and download further plugins. The registration information on the domains for the C2 servers showed this campaign could have been planned as far back as May 2024. The researchers say this campaign isn't technically complex, but instead relies on social engineering cues with a deep understanding of the target community.
Okay.
Cloudflare sees big jump in DDoS attacks.
All right, hey, and just for production notes, usually I can start and stop the audio with my Stream Deck, but when I got here, I discovered my Stream Deck needed an update, and updating the Spotify plugin is much more complicated than hitting update. It's a full-on vulnerability management nightmare. So I so I didn't update it. Classic practitioner. Because I can, it'll impact production, so I'll take care of it when I get home. Okay, so check it out. The Uyghur population, if you guys don't know really quickly, I particularly am interested in this. Not that I'm Chinese or Muslim or a member of the Uyghur population. Yes, really quickly, Funky Monk, every time I hear Rich Straffolino say his name, I also think Mr. Straffolino, Mr. Bob Straffolino. If you're not familiar with Del the Funky Homo Sapien and Mr. Dabalina, you should. Okay, so check this out. Here's what you need to know about this particular one. Okay, a couple key items jumped out of there. Oh, I'm sorry, I got derailed. The Uyghur population is in northwest China. They are Muslim, and they are being I feel like this is objectively reporting, not politically engaged. But there's basically like genocide going on to eliminate the Uyghur population, frankly, either through re-education of the next generation, so they come up hating Uyghurs themselves, or straight up eradicating the active population. It's actually quite a tragedy going on up there. Anyways, this is all part of the grand plan of what's going on in China. And what is happening here is this particular population has been quote unquote attacked in different ways. And in this one, they're being targeted. Their leaders, right, senior members of the World Uyghur Congress, right, are the ones living in exile that are being targeted. So they can't physically get directly to these individuals because they're in exile. So they're targeting them through digital means and phishing. Now, one interesting thing that points out here is that they said that this is not a sophisticated malware. It does have C2. It does do some of the typical things you would see in, prosumer grade malware, but it's not like nation state level Chinese APT 41 type action. Here's what I suspect. One, these senior leaders of the Uyghur population are, savvy that they are being targeted, and the cultural cues and references that are specific to their culture need to be incorporated to kind of blend in and get past the sniff test, as it were. And I suspect that the individuals that are capable of that knowledge base are also like less sophisticated from a malware development capability, if I had to guess. Because it's not just the phishing email to get them to download the malware and run it, but I'm assuming since a Trojanized version of the malware, it would need to do something that is useful and makes sense for that particular targeted population. TLDR here for everybody. All I want you to know is, number one, this is spear phishing. If you're looking for a classic example of spear phishing, most people point to VIPs of Fortune 500 companies or global leaders. This is kind of a different take on it, where an authoritative regime is wanting to impress their power and suppress one demographic of their population, and using spear phishing to target their senior leaders. So just a nice one. I mean, this is a horrible story, but it's a nice case study on how spear phishing can be one to throw in your toolbox there to whip out in an interview if you need to. And another thing, really quickly, just to speak about interviews. While this is a tragedy, if you talk about phishing in an interview, which is probably going to happen. I mean, that's like such a common thing. It's like the most like common initial attack vector. When you bring it up, like when you talk about, oh yeah, spear phishing, VIPs, for like it's so generic, so bland. It's not very. It's almost like you don't even pay attention to it. If you were to bring up this one as an example, not only is this current and relevant, which would demonstrate that you are paying attention and you are up on the current news in cyber, it's also a spear phishing example that you don't commonly hear and will resonate and stay sticky with the interviewees. If I had to guess, I mean, I certainly would find it interesting that you knew about that. Standard practice, guys. Hopefully, these individuals are getting support from a cyber capability in some capacity in order to, have email security gateways and have EDRs on their endpoints, right? So those two tools are technical solutions. One would keep the email from even getting to those senior people. Two would detect and quarantine the malware before it could do any damage or anything like that. But yep, so this is where we are in 2025. Let's keep cooking.
Cloudflare's Q1 DDoS report disclosed that the company mitigated 20.5 million DDoS attacks in Q1 compared to 21.3 million DDoS attacks it mitigated in all of 2024. The Q1 figure is up 358% on the year and up almost 200% compared to Q4 2024. Attacks on Cloudflare itself accounted for 32% of the Q1 figure. It saw just over 6.6 million DDoS attacks as part of an 18-day campaign. Network layer attacks accounted for this huge spike, up 509% on the year. Within that number, attacks using connectionless lightweight directory access protocol and encapsulating security payload floods saw the biggest growth. Cloudflare also saw over 700 attacks with bandwidths of at least 1 terabit per second.
All right.
4chan, back on.
Okay, so check it out. Okay, so yes, denial of service is definitely something you have to be mindful of, right? When we talk about the CIA triad, availability is like right there. Denial of service attacks, while they can be somewhat crude, they are effective. Now, remember, they're mostly effective for, they're like, well, a couple things here. Number one, denial of service attacks are almost always thought of as pushing an overwhelming amount of traffic to an IP address or to some type of web application, right? So when you have a single IP address, a lot of times for more larger businesses like Amazon or whatever, they'll have load balancing, and it's kind of a front door, but there's way more infrastructure behind it. Okay. Anyways, a lot of times that is what we say. So when you say denial of service, like immediately people think of that. But I just want to point out really quickly that denial of service is straight up denying service in any capacity, right? If you put Loctite glue inside the key lock of the data center door and you can't get in the data center, that's denial of service, right? If I flash the firmware on your router or your Ring doorbell, and I just flash it with like just some type of devastating wiper, that's denial of service. Shamoon, probably one of the most iconic seminal events. Shamoon, where Saudi Aramco got all of their computers hosed by a wiper virus. Go look that one up. SHAMOON. I think Darknet Diaries has a video on it. Shamoon, which features Chris Krubecka. Shamoon was a wiper virus. That's denial of service. Okay, so don't limit yourself to overwhelming network traffic pushes. Okay, that's just a little the more you know, because a lot of people, I feel like they just like stick their head down and they're like, oh yeah, data. Okay, so Cloudflare does a bunch of services, but one of the things they sell is denial of service protection services. So again, this is one of those classic ones. Of course, Cloudflare is good at it. But this is also like a puff piece of Cloudflare pointing out how great they are. Phil Stafford. This is quite a, it's like, hey, look at how bad this denial of service attack thing is. Oh, by the way, we sell this. Okay. 350% year over year jump, 198% quarter over quarter. The sky is falling, and we sell services that can help you protect. So what do we want to know about this? The two key things that they popped out in the story is, number one, there's been a massive uptick in network layer attacks. So remember, again, just to kind of double click down into these things, which is such a executive term. When you send network traffic to flood someone, right, you can send it at the application layer, right? So you can do like HTTP floods. You can do it at the transport layer, right? You could do a TCP SYN flood back in the day, right? If you're a gray beard or a gray, I guess a gray hair is what I'll say, because, females typically don't have beards, right? And to say gray beard almost feels like I'm excluding them. So I'll start saying gray hairs. Okay, so the gray hairs know about that. But you can also, as they mentioned in here, at the network layer is where it is. So this is more at the IP address. I'm assuming TCP IP, so either TCP floods or UDP floods. These amplification attacks can ramp up quite quickly. So here's the deal. When you're protecting from a denial of service network traffic flood attack, to me, it's like you can use a WAF if it's at a web application firewall, if it's at the HTTP layer, and then you have to use other techniques if it's at the network layer, and Cloudflare sells services like that. There's all sorts of like specific things you can do for yourself. No. Oh God. All right. I'm sorry. Listen, I made a mistake. None of the women in the audience or the community have gray hair. Just to be clear, none of the female population in the audience are old. Just the men are old. Okay. But thank you, DJ BSEC, for letting me know. There was one other thing that they had in here. Oh, yeah. They said that encapsulating security payloads and connectionless LDAP traffic is what they're seeing the most of. Again, with the denial of service attack, you could protect yourself, but you can't really stop these attacks from occurring. You can stop yourself from having your infrastructure used as part of the attack. So I'm going to zero in on this, like encapsulation, security payload, reflection, amplification attack. I don't know what the encapsulating security payload piece of the protocol is, but I do know on reflection and amplification attacks, this is where threat actors basically bounce off of misconfigured infrastructure and use that infrastructure to flood victims. Okay. Memcache, the Memcache amplification attack is a great example of this. If anyone in chat has good examples of these particular two attacks, connectionless LDAP or ESP reflection amplification attacks, let me know in chat. But essentially, here's the TLDR. If you're running a manufacturing company and you're just like getting product and doing all those things, right? You don't have to worry too much about a denial of service attack. A threat actor could do it on your VPN infrastructure, your Citrix infrastructure, but for the most part, if it's when you're running like a SaaS product or web application that is like critical to your business, like how your business makes that cheddar. Straight cash, homie. That's when you really want to invest in denial of service stuff, right? So like for me, like Simply Cyber Academy is a perfect example. I depend on Teachable, the platform that hosts my academy. Like I've pushed down the risk to that, or the responsibility to them, and they provide that denial of service protection. And that's in their best interest, right? Because if they get hit and they can't protect from it, and I can't serve you guys, the academy, I'll just go to another platform that does do those things, right? So there is like a market demand for these things. But just know, you don't necessarily need denial of service solutions, protections. It depends on your business situation. It's just one of those ones. It's a great control, but you know, if you don't get the value from it, you don't really need it. All right, let's keep going.
Online. If the last 2 weeks on the internet felt a little bit less awful, that's because the infamous 4chan forum had been offline since April 14th. The site's boards and front page are now back online, although posting and images remain down. In its first blog post in 8 years, 4chan's operators explained that a hacker using a UK IP address exploited an out-of-date software package on one of 4chan's servers through a bogus PDF upload. From there, the threat actors exfiltrated database tables and source code before pivoting to vandalizing the site. Once that was detected, moderators took 4chan's servers offline. The post said a prolonged server migration to newer hardware left its infrastructure exposed.
Yep.
Woo.
All right. Guys, I mean, this is just ignore the fact that it's 4chan for a minute. This is another like case study. Although, listen, I wouldn't bring 4chan up in a job interview. Okay? Like, this is a perfect case study on the reality of what's going on in business and what you can expect to see in reality. But I wouldn't mention 4chan. Just listen. 4chan, this website, provides service, right? Dude, hosting infrastructure costs money. It's not free, right? And I don't know 4chan very well. I don't hang out there. I don't hang out on any of the chans. I just know about them, right? So I don't know how they fund their platform, like if they do Patreon or something. But anyways, when you have limited to no budget, okay, like let's just play we're a CISO for a second. You have limited to no budget. Your IT staff is essentially volunteers, right? The admins for these things. And I don't know if they're cyber professionals or not, but they migrated to new hardware, but then kind of left a lot of legacy stuff, didn't do good configuration management, right? Didn't do good change control. If you've been here for a minute, if you have a blue badge, you know exactly how I feel about legacy systems and the unbelievable, like, lingering vestigial quagmire of applications and systems that people just leave connected and online and just pay it no mind after the migration. This is what happened. And, you know, with a I will say from a GRC perspective, actually, no, I listen, I was going to say 4chan probably did a risk analysis and figured that they weren't a valuable target to get targeted. But in reality, they're very polarizing. A lot of people don't like 4chan. A lot of people like 4chan, right? It's very polarizing. So you would think from their risk analysis, their likelihood would increase just from the population of people that aren't down with what they're doing, and which would include, in this instance, potentially law enforcement. So the fact that they're back up, to me, it probably indicates they pulled like a server out of the garage, plugged it in, blew the dust off. I would assume that their infrastructure is up, but not performing at the level that it was before. So, borderline business continuity execution, but we'll see. We'll see. The fact that they had an outdated the hacker exploited a out of date unpatched system using an upload PDF, and then it sounds like they just did a SQL injection attack to dump database tables, or they just got into the database. Chris, yeah. So and then on top of it, this is like vintage. This is vintage ideologically motivated hacker. They did all the damage, and on their way out, they defaced the website and brought it and did other things to it. It's basically like the equivalent of this is stealing all the stuff.
Yep.
It's like stealing everything and then like pouring gasoline and throwing a match on your way out. That's essentially what that is. Like I said, it's a good case study on why change control is important and why you should invest in system lifecycle. Here's the thing, dudes. Listen, system lifecycle isn't going to get you hired. System lifecycle isn't going to get you a promotion. System lifecycle isn't going to get you like, the VIP seat at the reception, but it's the right thing. It's just not sexy. BZ with the super chat. BZ says, does anyone ever do quality configuration change control? Yeah, I hear you, dude. Ask me a Jawjacking if you want. I will have an extra minute. I can tell you why change control fails. Like, I've seen it time and time again. I have rolled out change control multiple times. I could tell you exactly why it fails. Exactly why it fails. Anyways, 4chan, I don't know. They're probably looking for a GRC analyst.
Commerce hit with large-scale phishing campaign. Researchers at PatchStack warned of a campaign targeting the popular CMS platform. Threat actors send phishing messages to sites warning of a non-existent, unauthenticated administrative access vulnerability. The messages try to get click-through to a phishing site to download a supposed patch. This actually leads them to a spoofed WooCommerce Marketplace page that installs a WordPress plugin that then sets up a new admin-level user, gets an HTTP GET request to a server with the account login credentials, downloads a next-stage payload, and then hides the plugin and the new admin user. Once gaining access to the site, the threat actors inject spam, do site redirects to other malicious sites, enroll the site in a botnet, and extort site owners.
Wow. Okay.
And now, thanks to today's episode sponsor.
Whoa, dude. This is like a really great attack. Again, I don't have my voice modifier, but this is like Flaming Donkey level recognition here. What is an IDN homograph attack? That's a new one for me. Hold on. I just pivoted and we got immediately, look at, there's like not even any text to story. It's just like infograph in your face. Okay, so I'm just looking at this. Okay, so homoglyph domain. Why did we need to like rename this to homoglyph domain? This just looks like typo squatting. Is it 2025 and we had to come up with a new buzzword like for typo squatting? If someone wants to explain to me the difference between typo squatting and homoglyph domain, IDN, whatever, let me know. But anyways, this is clever. So if you're running a WordPress site, right? It says WooCommerce. It doesn't say, it does say WordPress right here. Yeah. So WooCommerce has been targeted multiple times. I assume this has to do with like e-commerce or transactions and stuff like that. This is clever. They send a email. This would be a targeted attack. Hold on 1 second. DJ B-Sex chiming in here. Okay. DJ B-Sex says in the most Texas way possible that typo squatting and homoglyph attacks are the same thing. They're the same damn thing. So anyways. Yeah. Anyways, they send an email out that looks pretty official saying, yo, there's a massive problem here. Patch your stuff. Guys, when Fortinet sends you something, or Zixel sends you something, or who else has problems all the time? QNAP, right? It becomes easy to be like, click, click, click. And then once, obviously once you download this patch and install it, you're basically hosing yourself. Thank you, Cyber Shinigami. Cyber Shinigami saying that the certification books need to update their texts so they can sell more of them. Exactly. Here's the deal. As a practitioner and an academic who appreciates threat actor techniques, I don't want them to do it, but I appreciate them. I like this one. I think this is pretty clever. They get you scared by needing to install a patch. They make it super convenient by just giving you one button to click, and you're screwed. And look how legitimate this looks. This looks super legit. I would bet victims would fall for this. Here's the TLDR. If you're running WordPress, or anyone in your environment's running WordPress, and they use the WooCommerce plugin, make them aware of this, let them know it's a threat, and then the easiest way to identify if you've been compromised from a threat hunting perspective here is to look to see if there's a new administrator user on your server. It says obfuscated username and randomized password, but that doesn't matter. If you have a friggin' admin user that wasn't there yesterday, guess what? You got. Also, you can see C2 traffic going out. WooCommerce dash services trying to, hide in the noise. So you can definitely go threat hunting for this. Here's the thing. You can't patch this. You can't patch from this, okay? This isn't a vulnerability. This is you getting socially engineered into installing malware. That's what this is. So there's no, you got to patch it. In this instance, literally, you don't got to patch it. Yeah, picking up what I'm putting down. Let's do the mid-roll, and I'm going to share a story with y'all.
ThreatLocker. ThreatLocker is a global leader in zero-trust endpoint security, offering cybersecurity controls to protect businesses from zero-day attacks and ransomware. ThreatLocker operates a default deny approach to reduce the attack surface and mitigate potential cyber vulnerabilities. To learn more and start your free trial, visit threatlocker.com/CISO. That's ThreatLocker.com/CISO.
All right, I'm going to try to play this, and let me know if my my volume of my mic goes down, because I might have to tinker with the mixing board here. Let's go. All right, y'all. Hopefully my mic audio didn't go down, but the music did, and you can still hear me. Let me know really quickly. I guess Eric Taylor, you're probably the fastest to be able to hear, since you're not. Okay, thumbs up. All right, guys, check it out. I want to say thank you to the stream sponsors, Barricade, Antisyphon, ThreatLocker, and I want to say thank you to all of you. My man my lady KP, Tony Jack, Funky Monk, TG Artist, Phil Stafford, Alpha Sierra, the drum major, as always. Guys, it's great to see. We got them. People have been like really heads down. It's great. DJ B-Sex back in Mod Chat. Nice to see him. Justin Gold, Jenny Housley, Eric Taylor. I saw Jesse Johnson, basically peer out of the darkness for a minute. It's great, guys. Let me just share this with you. It's an absolute pleasure and a delight to be part of this community and to wake up every morning with y'all. I genuinely appreciate you. Thank you. All right, guys. Let me share something. Every single day we share a story. We do a fun thing every day. And Roswell UK, if you're listening on replay or whatever, get with me on Discord, dude. I need to get you your prize. Tuesdays, I tell you a personal story. See if we vibe. Okay, here we go. Get ready for this one. So I'm a runner. Okay, I love running. I love running for fun, not to like get away from a bear or something. Okay. But I travel, and when I travel, I have to travel kind of light, right? Like, you can only carry so much crap in your bag. And carrying a whole bunch of running equipment, or running, like, multiple shorts, multiple socks, multiple shirts, one pair of shoes, right? And it gets all sweaty and gross. So then your luggage stinks and everything like that. So a friend of mine, this was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, a friend of mine said, yo, dude, here's a technique. Run, okay? He's like, I do this. It works. He goes, run, and then just, get in the shower with your running shirt and shorts on, specifically, your shorts, right? And shower, and then use the bar of soap to, like, wash your clothes while you're wearing them. And I was like, okay. Now, I think maybe he meant, like, take your clothes off and wash them or whatever. But anyways, I take it literally. I get in the shower in my running clothes. I shower. I clean myself up, do all the things with the soap that you're supposed to do. I kind of like rinse off or whatever. I take my running clothes off and I hang them up to dry. Okay, great. Win. The next day comes and I'm like, yes, look at me. I'm like optimizing the hell out of running. I throw on the running clothes and I go for a run. And when I run like 3 miles. Typically, that's my common run, right? I'm not lying, y'all. Maybe like 3/4 of a mile in, once my body heat and sweat like activate. Hold on. Once my body heat and sweat like activate the soap in my clothes, which did not get rinsed out, and I'm talking specifically about where my leg meets my torso, that like flares up, and I'm basically wearing itching powder shorts, and I'm a mile from anything, and I have to turn. Like, it doesn't even immediately make sense to me what the hell is going on. I'm like, why is there burning? What is going on? And I have to turn and I run back. Basically, you're not supposed to leave soap on your skin. And I was like full on fusing soap into my body with sweat and heat activating it. And it was bad. And then I was in Vegas for DEF CON Black Hat. So even though I took the clothes off and like burned them, I still have this like incredible skin rash now. And hey, guess what? You know what you don't do when you're in Black Hat Vegas? You don't not walk. So I'm walking all over the place with this rash. It looks like I've got like a wedgie because I'm like trying to walk to like make it hurt less. What an awful experience. So, hey, Tidbits Tuesday, if you've ever washed your running clothes with soap, not washed the soap out, and then went for a run and then gave yourself an unbelievable rash, we got that in common. So thanks, everybody. All right. Let's get our la la la's on. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Sippy cup. Let's go. All right. Okay. Mara Levy just let me know here. Life with George, ladies and gentlemen, squad members alike. Life with George picking up a new job. Way to go, Life with George. Threat and vulnerability analyst. Straight crushing it like a boss. We got the la 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 la's and the wrecking ball. Oh my. Today is already starting off quite nicely. Let's get back and finish strong, y'all.
Iran claims it stopped infrastructure attack. The head of Iran's telecommunication infrastructure company, Behzad Akbari, told the Tasnim news agency that one of the most widespread and complex cyber attacks against the country's infrastructure was identified and preventative measures were taken over the weekend, although he was otherwise light on details. This announcement came a day after a large explosion at Iran's largest commercial port, although there is no indication that these events are related, just two kind of big things happening in Iran. Iran suffered two notable infrastructure attacks in 2021 and 2022, both claimed by the dissident group Predatory Sparrow, but no group has come forward to take credit for this attack so far.
Predatory Sparrow? That sounds like a splinter faction that was like radicalized in the Hunger Games universe. Okay, let's see. Yep. Hey, just so everybody knows, I just connected with Roswell UK on Discord DMs. Thank you. We'll get him sorted out. And Roswell UK, again, thank you for what you do for the community. So Iran gets hit with the most complex and widespread attack in the company's history, right? Or one of in history. Let's see. Intelligence is saying that they had improper handling of shipment fuel. Come on. Okay. Like, I mean, I guess I'll defer to the military people in chat here. But solid fuel intended for use in ballistic missiles somehow had a problem and exploded. And then there was like a massive cyber attack. Now, the reporter says in the story, like, they don't seem to be linked. It was just a coincidence that two things happened at the same time. But those seem like two very specific things that cripple a country, especially one that's like, you know, pretty hotly involved in a lot of geopolitical events right now. So we'll see. Whatever. Yeah. It says here, you know, there's a story that they believe that the U.S. and Israel behind a cyber attack in 2020. Quite possible. Obviously, U.S. and Israel, I think it's confirmed at this point, were behind Stuxnet that destroyed the Natanz uranium enrichment facility that set Iran's nuclear program back a decade. So, you know, this happens. There's nothing. I mean, this is just like general news for us. Like, whatever.
A look at quantum readiness. In the past 2 years, we've seen some signs that quantum computing might someday move from the lab to production, with NIST notably putting out its first quantum resistant encryption algorithms. That hasn't translated to many organizations, it seems. According to a new survey by ISACA, only 5% of IT professionals said their organization has a strategy to defend against quantum enabled threats, with 3% saying it was a high business priority for the near future. 59% said they have done nothing to prepare for quantum computing at all. And remember those NIST standards? Well, 7% of respondents said they had a strong understanding of them, while 44% said they had never heard of them.
Okay. Kyle putting the pieces together. Chris Rock was in the Middle East last week. Okay, so ISACA doing a little bit of research and figuring out that most people in our industry are not caring or paying attention to quantum threat mitigation. So NIST, I love myself NIST. You guys know I love NIST. In fact, there's a freaking emote. If you're a squad member, we don't get to use the I Heart NIST often, but this is a good time. NIST has quantum resistant encryption algorithms that you can implement, okay? Listen to me. Quantum computers are not like practical or mainstream right now. And yes, if you implemented quantum resistant encryption technologies, you'd be future proofing your secure data from quantum computer attacks. Having said that, like, we can't get people to not fall for phishes. We can't get people to turn on multi-factor authentication. We can't get people to decommission systems that don't get used anymore. We can't get people to click on all the things and like install malware. We can't get people to not plug dumb stuff in. We can't get people to not scan QR codes that they shouldn't. Like, in my risk matrix, getting my encrypted data decrypted by quantum technologies, it's just not there. Which is why, if you talk to any professional, as ISACA did, it's like literally not on their radar. It's not on their board. It's not on their long-term strategy. It's just not. It's like IPv6. IPv6, oh, it's going to solve everything. And then people are like, oh, we can just have a non-public routable IP address and you can blow it out in your own environment. IPv4 has been fixed. Okay, like, I'm good with IPv6. It's more complicated than I need it to be. The only way anyone's going to go whole hog on this, there's two ways. One, if quantum computers are start getting sold at Best Buy, right, and everyone can get one, and you're doing all sorts of stuff, and then the attacks start happening. Number two, if security products start offering quantum resistant encryption algorithms as the drop down. Right now, so like right now, AES is considered secure. AES is often the default configuration. If you're given an option in a drop down list, you pick AES. If it says quantum resistant, sure, I'll pick it as long as it doesn't introduce any overhead, any burden, any performance issue to the end user. We're all in on it. The second you introduce performance, right? So you try to go to a website and instead of using TLS, you use some type of quantum TLS. Just go with me here. And the website loads in 30 seconds. Do you think for a minute when you try to explain to the end user that, hey, you know, this delay is worth it because we can't get attacked by your network traffic can't be broken by quantum computers. They're going to be like, what? I just want to buy some yoga mats on Amazon, bro. Like I don't want this. You know what I'm saying? Here we go. Save your questions, TG artists, unless someone else can answer it, but we'll do jawjacking.
CMS Zero Day exploits hundreds of sites. Researchers at Orange Cyber Defense issued a warning that a critical zero-day impact.
Hold on, one other thing just about this critical thing. No businesses are asking for this. So, like, there's no market demand, right? So if you're a consultant, if you're selling services, if you're a vendor, like selling product, and you're looking at what features to put in your roadmap because you're trying to sell the friggin' thing. Straight cash, homie. If you spend time and energy putting quantum-resistant encryption in your tool, instead of offering a new feature that makes life easier for the end user, but your competitors are, well, guess what? Your competitors look a lot sexier. Straight cash, homie. Okay, let's keep going.
Craft CMS is under active exploitation. This allows attackers to send a post request to the endpoint responsible for image transformation, and the data within the post would be interpreted by the server. In other words, remote code execution. Exploitation of the flaw began on February 10th, with over 300 deployments subsequently compromised. Craft CMS released patches on April 10th.
Okay.
The FBI wants your help.
All right. So for the sake of time, oh my God, why can't I? Dude, I hate websites that you can't highlight the friggin'. Oh, there we go. Sorry. My Boston anger flared up for a second, but it was layer 8 error. All right, here we go. Using Barricade Cyber's EPSS tool. And this has a 0.07% of being affected by this in the next 30 days, which basically means you can put this, even though it's a CVSS score 10 of 10, which is really bad, the likelihood of you seeing it is very low. Here's the deal, really quickly. If you're running Craft CMS, they have a patch. They're being actively exploited, and this is April 29th. This started February 10th, so the reporting is pretty bad here. Like, you would have been hit already. If you're looking for, like, a little exercise, right, maybe you're like a one-person IT shop or you just got bored at work, you can scan your internet-facing IP address. You can even scan your whole internal network and just look for this Craft CMS system and then see what version it is, if you can fingerprint it. If you can't fingerprint it, reach out to the application owner or the server owner, ask them what version it's running, and just patch it. You gotta patch it.
With Salt Typhoon, the Federal Bureau of Investigation released a public service announcement asking the public to come forward with any actionable intelligence about the China-linked threat actor Salt Typhoon, which law enforcement discovered accessing U.S. telecommunications companies back in November. Among other things, the group targeted the phones of staff for both major parties' presidential campaigns last year. In addition, the U.S. Department of State's Reward for Justice program will offer up to $10 million reward for any information on foreign state-linked threat actors who target U.S. critical infrastructure. That's not limited to just Salt Typhoon.
Wow.
Less money.
All right. I mean, this is good and scary at the same time. So, like, when federal law enforcement and intelligence services ask the public for help, I feel like that means that, like, coming up with a lot of dead ends. I mean, it's certainly an intelligence source that's worth tapping into. $10 million, from my experience, from what I've seen in my life, $10 million is the maximum amount the FBI can offer. I just want to point out also, typically there's a lot of like gates that come with that $10 million. So like say you know exactly, say like you know exactly who Salt Typhoon is, right? Like they're like your neighbor, right? Like your neighbor, every time they come out to their mailbox, they're like, "Hey neighbor," they're like, "Hey, I'm Salt Typhoon, don't tell." Okay, like whatever. Like say you had that line. Even if you reported it to the FBI, you get like a certain amount of money for like tipping them off. And then there's more money that comes if they get indicted. Then there's more money that comes if they go to jail. Like it's not just a little fun fact. I found this out recently. Like that $10 million, you may not see it for like a while, even if like the Salt Typhoon was your neighbor. Okay. All right. So check it out. There's not much to this story. There's not much to the story here. Salt Typhoon, they're basically the one hits the ISPs in the United States, right? China's been all up in the United States infrastructure, critical infrastructure. Volt Typhoon hit the energy sector. Salt Typhoon hit the ISPs. Flax Typhoon hit the telecommunications companies, got into the cell phones and all that. It's been like, getting ridden hard and put up wet kind of situation here for the United States critical infrastructure. So, I guess this is just another, tool in the toolbox, if you will, on getting insights and information. The reality is these threat actors are very likely operating outside of the United States in a protected space, probably a military facility in China. So, like, I don't know what the FBI is hoping to achieve with this, but there's nothing, as a practitioner, as an aspiring practitioner, there isn't much to do with this, okay? It's good to know from a situational awareness perspective, but like, if you crack out Salt Typhoon in a job interview, you might be getting over your ski tips a little bit.
Less resources and a giant target on your back isn't exactly a great pitch for recruiting.
Oh, look at us. Yes, but we are at time. Don't go anywhere, guys, because we got Jawjacking coming in hot in the next 2 minutes. Jawjacking is a 30-minute AMA-style cybersecurity-focused podcast where you ask questions and we give answers. We are trying to help everybody demystify cybersecurity, promote empowerment, support, inclusion. I do want to let everyone know from a programming note that this Friday, May 2nd, is the state of Simply Cyber. So if you guys didn't know, every quarter I actually do think of it as like a all hands meeting or a town hall meeting or whatever. I do see the Simply Cyber community as my boss. So I feel compelled to provide quarterly communication, quarterly updates on what we're working on at Simply Cyber, what you can expect to see in the next quarter. We'll cover the academy, we'll cover the media group, we'll cover all the things, and I also open it up for feedback. So if you have something you're super passionate about, you want to share, we could certainly discuss it at that event. That'll be Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, I believe. I think it's Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, maybe 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll have to double check. Just go to the Simply Cyber YouTube channel. It's at 3 p.m. Eastern. Go to the Simply Cyber YouTube. Actually, hell, I'll just pin it here. There we go. State of Simply Cyber. Hold on 1 second. Oh my God. Hold on. There we go. State of Simply Cyber is pinned, and I hope you can join us. Remember, if you're at RSA right now, I'm going to try to organize a meetup later today. I'll be over at Moscone in about an hour, and I'll be running around all day. I'm wearing this shirt, and I'll have on a suit jacket, so I'll be like business cool. Mono Julian with a super chat. Have you covered the cybersecurity CEO that placed malware at healthcare company? This may hurt potential partnerships with orgs that need security and may think threats are being manipulated by security firms. We did cover it yesterday, Mono Julian. It was one of the news stories yesterday. I don't think it'll have long-term impact because that guy basically got made into a public donkey. So thank you for the super chat, Mono Julian. And I hope everything's well with you. All right, guys, I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. Let's pivot over to Jawjacking. I will spend just a minute at Jawjacking with our very good friend Eric Taylor. But if you got to boogie out of here, take care. And until next time, stay secure. Ever wonder what it takes to break into cybersecurity? Join us every weekday for Jawjacking, where industry experts answer your burning questions about the cybersecurity field. Live, unfiltered, and totally free. Let's level up together. It's time for some Jawjacking. All right, everybody. Hey, real quick, Eric Taylor, my camera doesn't work because my OBS is getting it, so I will just pivot out of here. I hope you're well, Eric. Thank you for doing Jawjacking. Have
Absolutely.
a great experience, and I will pin some comments for you, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, bye.
Bye. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the smooth sounds of Jawjacking. For those who don't know, if you're a first timer here, I don't think I've seen any first timers in chat, but in case you haven't seen my ugly mug before, my name is Eric Taylor. I'm the CEO, Chief Forensic Operator here at Barricade Cyber, which means when cyber attacks happen, we are one of those firms that get called in to help. So, pleasure to meet you. If this is your first time doing Jawjacking, there's a little bit of a format. I'm going to talk about a couple stories while we do what's called questioning. So in chat, put a Q and a colon, so that way we can easily be able to find your question that you may be asking me. Just so you know, I am more technical than Dr. Gerald Auger. He sits at the 38,000 foot view of things, being a CISO and overall management. I am very much in the weeds, hands on keyboards and actually doing stuff. So things like GRC, which makes me want to use my trash can over here. All that stuff is kind of not in my wheelhouse. I'm elevating myself, but not there. I've been a gearhead for way too long. And while we are waiting for some questions to come in, I'll share my screen here. Let me actually close that out because I want to share my sound. So first, got to do the dolphin. If you haven't seen this, I posted this earlier this morning. You'll see it on the some of the news channel or some of the feeds coming up. But 2 hospitals and a sheriff's office was recently faced cyber incidents. We had a hospital in the U.S. Virgin Islands and one in the Cayman Islands, plus the Page County Sheriff's Office. And Dad, I forget what state this is in. I looked at it this morning, but I forget. What state is this in? Oh, Illinois. Okay, so hooray. So definitely keep that on your radar if you're impacted and you're located anywhere in that. Here's one, a 0-day exploration figure surged 19% in 2 years. It is absolutely freaking crazy to actually see that, right? Coming from Mandiant, which is Google's threat intelligence group, aka Mandiant. Unless you have, that's an assumption. I'm assuming that is Mandiant, but they don't call out Mandiant. They actually have the abbreviations GTIG. So I could be incorrect. Chat, correct me if I am smoking crack. But, vendors must try harder. This is going to be the secure by design mentality that you hear a lot of, where there's a push to code the developers and code writers to actually secure their code at time of development before it's being pushed into production. So, definitely know about that. If you haven't had it on your radar, Outlaw Botnet is making some noise. Dolphin sound would be a fun car horn. Good. So the botnet called Outlaw is actually making some headway. There's a lot of stuff going on in the threat actor landscape right now. We're seeing some new people pop up. We're seeing some folks, some groups being spun up. Those, if you haven't seen it, stop sharing. So in CISO series, there's been a lot of talks where Ransom Hub has pretty much acquired Dragon Force. And I've made the claim before that a lot of these sites on what we call the DLS, the disclosure link site, aka DLS, it's almost like there's a WordPress theme that you could be able to use, and a lot of them are using a lot of the same plugins and modules and stuff for that. Again, I don't know if it's WordPress or something else. I haven't dug in far enough to really figure that one out. But a lot of them seem to be using a lot of the same modules. But anyway, I digress. There's a lot of shakeup because Dragon Force went down earlier this month, maybe end of last month. And then earlier last week, maybe mid of last week, we've seen Ransom Hub come down. It came back up for about a day. Okay, I'll copy that. We've seen Ransom Hub come back up for about, I don't know, an hour or so with an RIP page, and it still hasn't come back up yet. So there's a new threat actor group called Night Spy, I believe it is. Night something. But they're making a lot of noise. So I'm like, that group came out right around the same time that Ransom Hub was going away. So is this one a rebranding? You know, we don't have enough TTPs on the new folks to really say intelligently yet. If y'all remember, the Everest hacking group went through an incident earlier this month, maybe 2 weeks, at the beginning of the month, and where their site pretty much got taken over. Well, they're back up and running and posting brand new content. So everything's really weird right now. It really, really is. Let me switch over to mod chat. All right. Let's go to some questions. Oh, before I go too far down this rabbit hole, just so you know, I am hosting the entire freaking thing tomorrow. So if you want some unhinged, salty stuff, tell your friends. Come on over and join. I'm sure it's going to get stupid salty. All right. Question from Alpha Sierra. What's going on, Alpha Sierra? Have y'all had any additional insight into the Spain-Portugal outage? Is it cyber, or what about the Microsoft outage last week? So the Microsoft, I don't have any information on. I have heard on the Spain-Portugal, there are enough people still saying cyber, but a lot of people are saying it's because of a fire. Hopefully within the next 24 hours we'll have clear information, but there's a lot of speculation going on. But it's about a 50-50 shot right now, to be honest with you. From Natariaja Monk, sorry if I butchered your name. According to the Sec Plus, oh, here we go. Change control has an open-ended way of being implemented. I am wondering why it doesn't work. Change control has an open-ended way of being implemented. I'm wondering why it... I don't understand your question. I don't understand. I'm trying to think. So, I mean, change control is simply just a documentation of what you do, right? So let me give you an example. And, I hate change control because I feel like half the time I spend more time documenting what I freaking did than I actually did the work. So we'll go to EPS lookup. Well, can I not spell? So right here, change log. This is change control, right? I am documenting all the versions. I'm documenting what happened, what I did, all that stuff. Change control. It's no more complicated than that. It's really not. You're just making notification of what changes that you made. Now, your organization may require approval or the changes be approved before implementation, aka, well, we need you to do this in dev, 3 people sign off on it, and then we'll push it into production, aka sandboxing, if you will, or dev environment, whoever you're talking to, or what platform you're using, like Dynamics and Salesforce and stuff, have a sandbox version. So, which, did you know that most of these platforms, everybody's like, oh, well, you're working with live data and dev. Most of the time, yeah, because they're literally copying everything from production over to sandbox to run a new module, a new plugin, a new whatever. And I'll tell you, every time you want to do that, you don't want to stand up a new sandbox, install all of your trash to bring it up to current installation metrics. Like, we've got this many plugins, this many this, this many that. And most of the time, the sandbox data that you have doesn't have all the variables from live customer data, right? So anyway, Jerry, yeah, hold on. So we're going to hear from Jerry on why change management cannot be, or why it fails. But just note, he has no idea what in the world I've said because he doesn't have an earpiece in.
I do now. And just to echo what Eric said, I'm sure, here's the reality. People get all geeked up about change control because it's like the new thing, and they want to implement it the way that it says to implement it according to like best practices and stuff. And what ends up happening is you have people who are involved from like infrastructure, help desk, application, data, infrastructure, security, obviously. You have all those people there, and then you start making people bring their changes, submit them, and then everybody has to read them, and then everybody meets and everybody agrees. And what ends up happening is 2 things. One, you're adding an extra task to all these people's lives, which they immediately begin to realize sucks. They're like, oh, I didn't want to do this extra work. So then they're looking for ways not to do that. 2, basically everything gets approved, right? So then people don't see the value in why are we doing this if we just like rubber stamp all these things. And the reality is it's much more for situational awareness, so everybody knows this thing's happening. That way when bad happens, you can quickly realize, oh, it's probably the change. And 3, like occasionally like a really radical thing happens, and because all those people are there, you realize, oh, wait a minute, if you make that change, that's actually going to impact this obscure thing that I'm responsible for, and we hadn't given consideration to. So it's trying to like get in front of weird situations like that. The final reason why, and this is probably the most important one, why change control ultimately fails and just kind of dissolves. By the way, no one ever just ends change control. Just people stop showing up to the meetings, and then people stop replying to the emails. But changes just keep getting deployed into the environment, and then people are like, let's just go back to the way it was before. This is stupid. But the reason is because it's very difficult to define what needs to be change controlled, right? So does patching a Windows server require change control? Probably not. You probably can just approve it. But what if it's a mission critical server? Don't we need to know it's going to get patched? Okay, well, what if we're going to deploy a new application? Sure, that's like a huge one. What if we're going to sunset an application? Sure, that's a huge one. What if we're going to add some users to an environment, or we're going to allow a third-party remote access into a solution, or we're going to stand up a VPN tunnel? All of these things are all nuanced situations, and you get inundated and overwhelmed by the number of things that need to be submitted for change control, and you end up blocking up the organization's ability to move forward on things, and then you become an impediment, and then you're a real problem. And then they start talking behind your back about how cybersecurity is screwing up everybody's workflows. And that is why change control fails, which I'm sure is along the lines of what Eric said. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
There you go. The official 30,000 foot view of Dr. Joe to Auger. Can someone send me the link to Antisyphon? I'm trying to get it right now. My YouTube is not loading properly. I see the video, but my chat box is just like, yeah, we're just not going to work. But from what Dr. Gerald Auger said, it is in, oh, thank you. Copy link. Go back. Why is this thing acting so funky? I'm not sure why Restream is doing this. So I just put it into the chat there, so definitely check that out. This is scheduled for tomorrow from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. So there's him and his, goofy mug. He really needs a new picture. So, they do they're doing the pre-show banter at 11:30. So definitely check it out. Go over there, register. Give him some awesome spiciness. Let's see if we got any other questions. Mods, I thought Joe was still. Do we have anything coming up at 9:30 or no? Questions are pretty light, so I'm not even sure if we're going to be running for that total hour. But I just don't want to cut off anything else. Let's see. I'm pinning questions real quick. 10-4, thank you for that confirmation, Jerry. That one's pinned, that one's pinned, that one's pinned. Pin this one. All right, I think I've got them all pinned now. Oh, that already answered. Christopher Young, are we planning for another taco truck at this year's Simply CyberCon? It's too early to tell. I don't know if it's a joke or Jerry really wants me to smoke meat and do a whole barbecue thing. I know that was tossed around. I think it was in a joking fashion, but I don't know what the official plans are. I do know it's being done at a hotel this year from last I heard. So I'm not sure how well that will go over. Might need freaking food permits and stuff like that if I did it. At a company that is highly used worldwide for ITSM and ITOM, looking for high pay, yet I don't want to leave this company. Should I move up within or go the money paying way more? Mono Juliet, that depends, right? Is the company you work for now sucky? Like you dread it? Or is it like, yeah, this place is pretty cool. I like my bosses. I like the owner. I like where the company is going. So I think I'm going to stick this thing out and then grow up. But if you're like, nah, dude, this place sucks. It's a dumpster fire waiting to happen. Someone farts the wrong way and this whole place is going up like a vacuum. Then yeah, But there is that threshold where there is enough money being thrown at you plus potential benefits to warrant a change in where you're hanging your hat. So, things to consider. How can we, Eric Taylor, as hard as Eric Taylor's in cybersecurity recommendations? A lot of vodka. Considering digital forensics, can you recommend a resource to test it and or a pathway to take? Papasta, I guess your name is. I would say if you're not a sysadmin, network admin, don't do digital forensics. If you are a sysadmin, network admin, I would say look at 13 Cubed and look at Black Hills Information Security. Both of them have some really, really good courses on digital forensics. I think 13 Cube is a lot more granular. Ton of stuff on YouTube, things of that nature. And it's just a number 13 cubed, spelled out CUBED. I couldn't remember his name the other day, but Richard is the guy who runs it. Really smart dude. One day, hope to be able to meet him in person. But yeah, he's got a lot of great stuff out there. So definitely take a look at that stuff. Oh. Oh. So if you don't know, we actually have our own merch store. Did you know that? So merch at barricadecyber.com. If I could type today, I've been typing all, see, I told you. I cannot type today. I've been typing literally all freaking morning coding. Because we're coming out with new freaking tools. So the reason I say that is, let's see, did we get, yep. Port 3389, ransomware deployment protocol. There you go. But, all right, seriously though. I'm running a Windows server with RDP. What is a more secure way to log in and control the server? I would literally say any remote access tool that will allow sufficient logging. Make sure it's behind MFA, things of that nature. You can even put in Cisco Duo for RDP, so that way you'll have username, you'll have password, and then you'll have an MFA prompt that you have to authenticate in before you can get in there. You know, I definitely wouldn't put it on the internet where you just, changing the port from 3389 to some other randomly generated port, because I promise you a port scanner is going to find it. It may take it a few more seconds, but port scanners will find that freaking server. So I mean, put it behind a VPN, make sure that you're, try to use SSL VPN. I know it kind of sucks, especially with low internet situations, because you're routing your entire traffic over that SSL VPN. But typically with that, you can actually put MFA on it that is supported by Fortinet, Palo Alto, Cisco, things of that nature. I think even Sophos has an MFA on their VPN. Could be wrong. In fact, now that I think about it, I think I am wrong. So, but yeah, anything you can be able to put obstacles in front of that server so it's not as easy to access will be ideal. Vodka. That's what we're just gonna leave it. We're just gonna leave the rest of the show. It's just vodka. Oh, I need that shirt. Well, it's over there on the merch stores, good sir. Ooh, I missed this one. Tech Grunt. How essential is it to learn ORM, object role modeling, when having to work with SQL? I don't know. I honestly don't think it is. Like, everything inside of me screams it's not. But I want to put an asterisk on that. It's been, geez, 8 or so years since I've really dug into SQL. So my answer could be wrong, but I feel 98% confident in that answer. No, stop it, Restream. I don't want to block somebody. Favorite blue team cert? Ooh. Favorite blue team cert. That is a good one. Yep. There used to be a cert, and it's going to show my age probably, but you could probably see all the gray in there, right? Yeah, you can see all that gray in there. At least I can see it on my playback video. But most of the time, having a really good understanding of Active Directory, because there's a ton of stuff you can do, like so many controls and everything you can implement in Active Directory. And now that you have the hybrid aspect of things, and even people just going straight cloud altogether, I would have to say right now, the Azure Intra and Intune certs would probably be my strongest recommendations for at least entry-level blue teaming, because while everything's not migrated fully over to Intra ID, you still have to go into Intune to do like application pushes and things of that nature. It's making a slow, painful migration over, but you can do a lot of policies and controls with that. So, depending on your infrastructure that you're working with in your environment, or maybe a client or a customer that you're, or an organization that you're attempting to go after, it may still be beneficial to have both. We have a lot of cases where they are 1,000% hybrid. There is no way on God's green earth that they could ever go 100% cloud. Just not possible. Call it tech debt, call it whatever you want, legacy applications, but a lot of organizations have custom written applications that can't be hosted in the cloud, nor is it beneficial, because it would actually slow down production, because those custom apps are querying local servers, and you really don't want that app just crisscrossing across multiple cloud instances. And redesigning that application will be a massive undertaking, to say the least, right? So I would stick with that. Any of the Entra ID or IDs, if there is an Intune one, I would grab that. And I still may recommend doing Active Directory certs, because I don't see it going away anytime soon. Hopefully that helps you. Thank you again for the Windows Recycle Bin Forensics. You're welcome. Are there virtual machines that come with DFIR tools already installed? Thank you. Yeah, there is a lot of them. I don't use much, but I know some people. So you have in pen testing, you have a Kali box, right? But there is a VM called Swift by Sans. It's called a Swift workstation. And I'll post the link here. And you can be able to download it. You can download it as a VM. You can, install it, or do an ISO with already a Ubuntu, or you can do it in WSL, Windows subsystem for Linux. You do have to have an account. It is free to sign up for an account. And Rob Lee put this together, so it's a good one. A lot of times when we take our classes, we'll have a version of Swift or Sift that is designed for the class. Has a bunch of PDFs from Sans and stuff like that, and some tools in there. So it's a good one. Does it have all the applications you need? No. It's definitely not like a Kali box by any means, where it would just be like, here's all of your tools that you'll ever need, and you can figure out which tools actually work good for you. But it has some good stuff, though. It's got some forensic tools. It has some reverse malware tools, things of that nature. So there is, not to be all Sans head on everybody, but there is another one I just thought about, and I forget who makes it. Yeah, Mandiant, that's right. Flare VM by Mandiant. Definitely check this one out. So this one comes with a ton of tools, things of that nature. So you can build out your entire VM. That's another good resource as well that you can be able to utilize. So remember, folks, if you have questions, put a Q with a colon so that way I can quickly find it, because I'm seeing people like Petrie over here does not put a Q in there, and luckily I just happened to look up and see that. So I'm building a honeypot network, okay, and I would like to spread honeypot email addresses more effectively. What would you recommend? That's going to be that's more red teaming engagement, and I could easily cross into an area with that answer that's not approved for this channel. That would definitely be something I would talk to the people over at Black Hills and in that community, things of that nature. I don't want to cross. I will quickly cross a line I'm not supposed to cross with that conversation. So no disrespect, not ignoring you, but I can get myself in a lot of trouble with Jerry real quick with that question. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. That's what we're here for. Do you have any thoughts on the SAL 1 change and how? I actually don't. And no jobs are going to ask for it on LinkedIn. It's too new. Question, looking for remote help desktop position. What do you think of site services like Upwork? Oh, so you're looking to hire somebody remote? Upwork, in my personal and professional opinion, is an effing dumpster fire. You have too many fly-by-night or people that just throw stuff together to make a quick dollar on Upwork. It's not a legitimate platform for me. To me, I don't trust it, nor do I trust anybody on there. I'm sure there's a lot of great people that are on Upwork doing fantastic things, but when it comes to code and doing other stuff, no. Please run away. No, Could you get some great video editing and maybe some music generated and stuff like that on Upwork? Absolutely. It's probably the best place for it. But tech work? No, sir. Nope, not at all. Run away, run as fast as you can. I would post something here in Dr. Gerald Auger's Discord and say, hey, you know, part-time, full-time, remote help needed. You know, put out some details. There's even a job thing, right? I think there's a job. Yeah, job postings under the community channels. See, post it there. J. Caesar, I'm sure this is referring to the forensic classes. So I constantly forget about TCM. I mean, great folks over there. Nothing against them. Sorry, I'm getting pinged like nobody's business in one of my feeds. Okay. Sorry, I was just taking. So if y'all haven't seen this yet, I'm not sure if Dr. Gerald Auger shared it, but I've got yet another webinar coming up. Have y'all heard about it? Let's see. So a lot of folks are getting compromised by business email compromises, right? So this is really how to secure your email, at least from a man-in-the-middle attack. So like if you're going into Outlook.office.com to sign into your Microsoft 365 tenancy, right? And you put something here, you know, bob@abc.com. A lot of times you will be directed here and kind of go through, but you know, up here in the URL, you're actually on a temporary phishing site. So what if there's a way to actually stop your users and with a big freaking logo and be like, stop, you are on a phishing site right now. Don't log in, you freaking meathead Carl, right? So there's a way to do that pretty easily. I've created a tool. We got a webinar coming up this Thursday, on 2 days. Fantastic. There's a couple little bugs I got to work out real quick on it, but yeah, it's a good little thing. So if you're interested in that, definitely go check out that link, share it with your team. It probably is not going to be a 16-minute webinar, but you know, we'll kind of go through and I'll do showcases of how it's doing it. So that way C-suite people can understand how easy it is to put together these type of tools. So we'll have a little bit of a high level and we'll have some technical breakdowns and things of that nature. So we'll have some fun with it, right? So if that's of interest to you, definitely check that out. Do you know of any threat intel sources that are geared toward SMB owners by industry? Sage, you're not the first person to ask me that. I don't know. We have a ton of threat intel. The problem is creating a feed for any and all industries. to be curated. Like, I only want things that impact the manufacturing industry. Well, then if you create that, I ran a test campaign on this a couple months ago with some folks who are in manufacturing, different types. So when you say manufacturing, you can have automobile, you can have this, you can have that, there's so many different type of manufacturing. And then they want to get uber picky. It's like, no, I only want stuff that has to deal with car manufacturing and, I only want stuff that deals with me as a supply chain to the manufacturing. And I'm like, I get it. You want stuff that super granular for you to digest, and I understand and I get it. But curating a list that's so in the weeds and so focused on each specific use case is effing impossible to satisfy everybody. It really is. So I have thought about putting together something that at least a high level you can digest it. I thought about bringing back the weekly podcast for that. It's like, here's all the stuff, the business that's happened in the past week, maybe that have been covered here or not on here, just off of my own CTI feeds and things of that nature. I don't know. It's right now I am paralysis by analysis. I don't know if there's a good way to do that. The trick is, how do you customize it for each individual SMB, especially with a variety of in-house tooling, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Once you start doing that, at least in my test sample, they wanted more and more narrowization on the topics that were being discussed. That only, because once you figured out, okay, we can filter. I want more filtering. I want more filtering. I want it further and further and further and further, where it only impacts my little bubble. And that's so hard to curate. That's so hard to put together. The only way that I can see that being a worthwhile endeavor is building a CTI notification platform where when you register, you are opting in for a technology. Cisco, Palo Alto, FortiGate, QNAP, Synology, whatever. So once that vendor popped up on our feed, then you would get that notification on that. That's the only way I can think of making it work. And it being super granular to the technology that impacts you and your business. So all right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody is well and is able to enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you people back here tomorrow morning, bright-eyed, bushy-tail, maybe even a little grumpier than I am today. Until next time, please take care of yourselves. Please go out there and do something creative and fun today. Where's my... Oh, there it is. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you so much.
There once was a kid whose passwords laid across all sites. They were the same, a criminal, then found their fame by taking that data to go.
Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account.
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that content. Keep the cybersecurity train going by connecting with the other Simply Cyber community resources. We have the Discord server that's lively and always keeps the conversation going. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn. And also every single weekday morning on the Simply Cyber channel, we're doing live daily cyber threat briefings, 8 a.m. Eastern time, as well as Thursday at 4:30 p.m. we're doing live stream interviews with industry experts, and we produce videos that we push out every Wednesday morning. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. I hope you enjoyed the content, and we'll see you in the next one.